Okay. So I welcome you all to this conversation with Nitin about our program, Discover Your True Self. And as you know, that this is about teens joining this program and how they can discover their true potential beyond the grades and comparison. And before we go ahead in this conversation, I'll just like to give a short introduction to Nitin, and then we'll go towards the question. So, about Nitin. Nitin is a renowned expert in logotherapy, and he is also a meaning coach and certified logotherapist from Viktor Frankl Institute of Logotherapy in Dublin. He is also an accredited member from Logotherapy Association in Vienna, and he is involved in this field since 2017. He very often conducts sessions worldwide, sharing the transformative principle of logotherapy, and he's also currently pursuing his MSc in existential coaching from Middlesex University. So, welcome each and every participant who is here. Welcome, Nitin. Thanks for guiding us through this journey.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, let's start with the first question, which is for Nitin. Um, so, Nitin, you are a logotherapist and a meaning coach, but you are also a parent to a homeschooled son. Um, what made you realize that today's teenagers, including your own child, need something different from what previous generations received? And what was that moment of recognition for you to create this program or go into this journey?
Okay. So, firstly, thank you. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Pranav. And at Living Consciously, there's so much happening which is so transformative, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. Um yeah, I mean, I actually have two kids. My son, of course, is a teenager. He's 13, and I have a daughter who's 7, who's just kind of starting her journey in terms of her explorations of the world. But I think the major transformative idea came in as I was reading more and more about logotherapy, and as I was gaining this insight about meaning and purpose in life. My own experience in terms of logotherapy was self-discovery, because I was going through something in my life that was really, really transformative. It was really painful. I had an experience where I was really going through something very deep, very intense, and as we call it in logotherapy, it had actually touched the noetic part of my core, which is the spiritual side of our lives. And I was experiencing this massive pain in me, that why are things happening in the fashion they happen? And why do we need to suffer? Why do we need to struggle? And that is what introduced me to logotherapy, to Man's Search for Meaning, which became a great Bible for me. And having studied logotherapy in Ireland, and also kind of getting exposed to so many people who are practicing logotherapy, I learned something really phenomenal, that when it comes to your own journey, it's a highly individualistic journey. Viktor Frankl always had this belief and conversations that he used to talk about, where he said that each one of us is unique. Each one of us is different from each other. So there cannot be a one formula fits all kind of a approach to anything that you do in life, including education. He had very strong opinions about education, and he used to believe that whatever is happening in the name of education today is something that's not relevant. The reason why it's not relevant is the current education system was designed during the industrial era, in the late 1800s, in the early 1900s, where the whole idea was to just create a workforce. The whole idea was to create people who would not question, who would not ask authorities about why and what and where. They would just simply jump into the bandwagon and start working, right? And that is what, if you go to see, each one of us has probably experienced this in our own lifetime. When we went to school and when we went to college, there were always these conversations about that you need to be a doctor, you need to be an engineer, you need to be a pilot, you need to do this, you need to do that, or an accountant or banking, etc., etc. But there was hardly any conversation ever that was asked about who are you really? What is it that you really want to do in your own life? What is it that you really aspire to be in your own life? And that was something that was a turning point for me personally as well, because I still remember when I cleared my boards, my 90 my 10 standard exams. I Back in those days in the 90s, I had secured around 84% or something, which was considered to be an extremely good score back in those days. And when I went back to my school and told my teachers about the fact that I've chosen to join arts and I'm going to graduate in international politics, they got so angry and so annoyed with me. And they said, given your grades, you could easily get into medicine, you could get into engineering. Why are you wasting your life? And that statement stuck with me forever because I was like, no, this is not me. I never wanted to be a doctor. I never wanted to be an engineer. So why is somebody else labeling me that I should be doing this? I may still get 84%, or in today's day and age, people get 89, 99% marks. And why can't I be an artist at 99% or a 98%? Why do I have to choose to be? Because somebody else was telling me what to do. So I was able to link it back to the philosophy that Frankl speaks about, where he says that there is no freedom in this world. There is no concept of actual true freedom. The only and only true freedom that we enjoy in our lives are the choices that we make, because we take birth on somebody else's free will. Nobody asks us before giving birth. Nobody asks us before keeping our name or telling us you're a boy, you should wear blue, and you are a girl, you should wear pink. Everyone comes and tells us, okay, do this, do this. This is how you're supposed to behave. Everything is all about expectations. We are put in those cages from the time we are born. And by the time we reach a stage in our life where we actually start or are in a position or mature enough to question these, we are again put in a cage because we are told, go to a school, get grades, you need to find a college. Go to a college, get grades, you need to find a job. Get a job. Okay, now you've got a job. Now you need to find someone to get married to. Now you've got married to. Okay, now I need to have children. Now that you've got children, worry about them. Don't worry about yourself. In that entire journey of life, where is the individual? Where is the authentic self? Right? And that is what triggered a lot of things. And luckily, I'm very fortunate that my wife also understands these very intensely. And we used to have conversations and conversations where we used to discuss these things. And she and I both agreed that yes, this is the way forward. We will not put our children in compartments, in a cages. We will not let them be who we will not let them be who we want them to be. In fact, a lot of people even ask me today, so what do you want your child to grow up to be? And I'm like, I don't know. I just want him to be a good human being. And I just want him to be resilient. I just want him to know that he can survive in this big bad world. I want him to have empathy. I want him to understand emotions. My son is 13, and it's we have these conversations, and I tell him this is perfectly all right if you're crying about something. Okay, if you're expressing your emotions, if you feel emotionally connected to something. In fact, we've had experiences where he and I have actually sat down in front of each other and have shed a tear together. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly beautiful to be human, right? But we are kind of multiple factors which are kind of fueling this so-called race, as we call it, or rat race as we call it, where people are just going ahead and comparing themselves or their children to others and are putting them. And again, social media is a big reason for that. So yes, that was one of the reasons why we decided that we will homeschool our children. Both our kids are actually homeschooled. Um, COVID played a major role, I would say. That was a big trigger because we realized that if any way my child has to sit at home and study, I might as well teach him myself. So there we are in our journey, and we're very happy and very proud of how we're bringing up our children. There are opinions. People keep telling us that some of them have made very harsh statements that you guys have spoiled your children's careers already and their lives already. We don't kind of get into debates on those, because as long as my wife is with me and we have a common ground in terms of how we're raising our children, I think that's where the world should acknowledge it and say, okay, this is your choice and this is your way of living.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Um, when you were sharing that, kids having their own emotion, kids having their own choices. I believe like uh, in our childhood, we knew how to use our choices. We were very open about what do we like, what we do we not, and we were like systematically domesticated to what to like and what not to like, and that's where
Yes,
we all lost it, lost our
exactly.
authenticity. Yeah,
Exactly. And our innocence
yeah,
in that
true,
entire
true.
bargain. We lost being authentic and we lost being innocent in this
Yeah.
entire bargain. And that is something that we should never encourage. And we should
Mm,
never let our children fall in that same trap, because we have all grown up in that trap. We have all seen this happening. And of course, I'm not saying that this is easy to do, right? There are ways and means where you will realize, and a lot of us will question this. Sometimes I myself sit down and question it. Are we doing the right thing? Is our child going to be ready to face the world? But the question to ask is, in today's day and age where everything is available on fingertips, when information is ready, when apps are there, when things are easy to discover, when things are easy to know, um, why do you want your child to go through the entire trouble of going through that journey again, right? I mean, how many of us really benefited reading the Pythagoras theorem in school?
mm,
Or I was just telling this yesterday at one of my sessions to someone that, I grew up in Mumbai and Marathi was a compulsory language. And I used to dread, those were one of, some of the worst days of my life was going to a Marathi class or trying to learn Marathi as a language. Not everybody has the skill sets to pick up languages. I am one of those. I cannot learn languages easily, right? There are some people who are gifted, they are talented, they like to learn languages, right? But why did you force me to learn it, whereas it's not even benefiting me in any way? Okay. And
yeah,
so those number of years, those number of hours of my life that were literally torturous, right, was something that I really miss. I wish somebody would have told me that it's all right if you don't know it, it's perfectly fine, right? Or if you don't know the Pythagoras theorem, it's okay. It's not getting to any use for me right now in my life. Yes, if I was interested in math, maybe yes, I would have studied it. But then what use is it doing to me in my life? Nothing,
true, true,
you know?
true. Very much true. Um, yeah, I think parents are very much worried about like what direction their kids are going because we have also been very much domesticated about how the system should work, how our child will excel. So usually parents think that, oh, my child has no directions or motivations, and I don't know how to help him without pushing. And while teens are saying that I'm more than just my marks, I'm more than just the comparison which is happening, and no one seems to care about what I want to do. So as both as parent and someone who work with families, how do you see this disconnect playing out in homes, and what's really happening here in the
Yes.
system?
So what's really happening is that we think that we're giving a big fat check to the school, and the school is going to figure out who my child is. Okay, the school is going to put him in a compartment to say, you're a great student, you can learn, you can read, you can write, you can think, you can remember, hopefully. uh, and okay, so you need to get into medical, you need to get into engineering, you need to get into banking, you need to get into technology, you need to get into AI. You are a person who's dumb, you're not going to do anything in life, you are useless, right? So the fact is, what's happening is even our education system is designed in that fashion to only look at grades,
Yeah.
right? There are 30 students in the class. And first, somebody comes first, somebody comes 30th, right? Now, would you blame the teacher for doing that? Most parents would do that. Oh, my child came 30th in the class, the teacher must be rubbish, right? I have coached teachers as well, and I know the pressures that even teachers have in their life. They're like, okay, today's parents are like so demanding that they feel, oh, I have paid the money, so I should know what my child's future is. So what is happening is you are falling in that cage or falling in that trap of saying, okay, I have paid the money. Now somebody else will tell me what my child is or who my child is. Have we ever sat down and tried to have a conversation with our own children to ask who you really are? What is it that you want to do? How do you want to grow? What do you want to be known as? What is your idea of life, right? What we do is we kind of put them in this pressure from the beginning that life is miserable. You have to get ready for a battle. I remember watching this movie which was in the 1960s or 70s, a beautiful movie. I think it had Sanjeev Kumar in it or whatever. And there was this one video clip which became very viral very recently, actually, and many of you probably would have seen it, where there is this child who's suffering, who's kind of sick or something, and the mother is asking the doctor that what is really wrong with this child, and the doctor only says that हमने एक हवा बना के रखा है कि जिंदगी एक जंग है. you know and that statement is so beautiful, that life is to be lived, but your child is not living life. Your child is saying, oh my god, this is such a bad place I've landed in. I need to be battle ready. I need to go out and fight for everything. So from the school onwards, we are preparing them for a battlefield. We're saying to them, no, study, 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 because you have to come first. You have to be there in that whatever scoreboard, right? Then you need to fight for a seat in college. You need to fight for a seat in your office. You need to fight for your promotion. You need to fight for a good girl or a good boy in your life. You need to fight for your own children. I mean, come on, give me a break. Life is to be lived. It's not a fight. Yes, there are bad things happening around in the world, but are we prepared for that in a manner that is very authentic to me? And again, why do I need to study? Like, again, my question is, and I'm sure you guys would have different opinions, and it's perfectly normal and okay if you have a different opinion. What benefit did it do to me as a child to study the history of Tipu Sultan? Is it of any use to me? Nobody told me. Everybody has created this vision in our mind. Oh, Tipu Sultan, great fight. Yes. Did you teach me the skills he had? Come and tell me, what were the skills he had? Was he a great horse rider? Was he a great fighter? Was he a great swordsman? What was he? Give me those skill sets. Don't tell me how bad he was. So you go to South India, they will tell you, no, no, he was a great real freedom fighter. You come to North India, they'll say, no, no, he was an enemy person. What are you trying to teach me? If I live in South India, he's a hero. If I live in North India, he's a villain. I mean, let's understand this. I'm interested in stories in my life. I still read a lot of stories. I narrate a lot of stories to my children. But how relevant is it to them if I'm telling them that somebody is a villain and somebody is a hero? Teach them qualities, teach them values, teach them principles. And that is what will make them a good human being. In fact, since we're talking about this, I want to share a very beautiful episode that happened today morning with my child. Okay, so this morning, my family currently is visiting Japan for the Expo 2025, and they went to a lakeside in Japan. And in the morning after they finished it, just before this trip 2 weeks ago, my wife and I, we presented our son, a camera, basically to record videos and shoot blogs and all of that kind of stuff. And it was a very expensive camera, so I paid something like 60,000 rupees for it. Okay. And it's a very small, tiny little thing. And because he needs to record instantly, whatever, it was in his pocket. Okay. When he got up as soon as he stood up, that camera slipped out of his pocket and fell in the lake. And the lake was quite deep. So obviously there was no reason for him to jump in and get something. He would have done that, but he didn't. Okay. And obviously now he's worried, he's upset. He's probably a little scared that, okay, what are my parents going to tell me? Obviously his mother was there with him. And his mother was like, are you okay? Like, just stay away from the lake. She was worried that he might not slip into the lake or whatever. So she didn't ask him about the camera or whatever. She didn't tell him anything. And then after a while, when we spoke, she told me about this. She said, Rishan is very upset because this has happened. So I spoke to him. Initially, he refused to talk to me. He was like, no, you probably might get annoyed with this or get angry with this. And I spoke to him and I told him, I said, what happened? And he said, I accidentally lost this camera which you gifted me. And, I'm feeling very miserable. So I asked him one question. I said, was it your fault? He said, to some extent, yes. I said, how? So he said, because I was not careful. I said, great. I'm happy that you learned the lesson that you need to be careful with your things, right? You cannot just keep them randomly anywhere. You need to be very, very careful of what you possess, which is important to you. Then I asked him, I said, why are you feeling miserable about it? So he said, because I lost 60,000 rupees worth of stuff. I said, okay, does that, of course it matters. We have to teach children importance of money. But at the same time, I took him back to one lesson I had given him a few weeks ago, which basically says that in life, there are always two situations and two buckets that you should always carry. One is called ABC, actions beyond my control. One is called AUC, actions under my control. So I asked him, I said, what kind of an action was this? He said, right now it is an ABC situation. I can't do anything. The camera is gone. Okay. So why are you wasting your time thinking about it so much? What is an AUC situation out of this? That I should be careful in the future with all my things. Right? So that is what you should focus on, not worry or sulk about what happened with that thing. Now hear this, an interesting thing that happened that made me really, really proud. Okay. I said, okay, now that we've lost that, it's all right. I'll buy you a new one and whatever. He said, no. What is troubling me is not the fact that I lost 60,000 rupees worth of a camera. What is troubling me is one of my friends recently told me that his father's monthly salary is 30,000 rupees. And the instant thing that hit him was, I've lost somebody's 2 months of monthly salary because of my stupidity, because of my mistake. This word, as I'm talking to you, I'm still having goosebumps. This statement from a 13-year-old hit me so hard. And I was like, this is empathy that we are trying to instill in our child. It's not about the materialistic loss. It's about this fact that this money is somebody's 2 months' salary. Somebody's house runs on this kind of money. So the value of money that my child understood today is something that he will never forget all his life. Right? And I was telling my wife that we must have done something right that we got this son, because today he is able to tell us that, I am more worried about the fact that how will I share this with my friend, because he wants to share this incident with his friend. But his friend will get so depressed that, oh, you lost 2 months of my dad's salary just like that. Imagine, this is not even his dad's money, like his dad's salary, and his dad didn't gift him this. His friend has nothing to do with this camera. But look where he connected the dots, right? So what we are trying to do is we should be worried about creating empathetic children, a new generation that has empathy, that has sympathy for each other, that kind of relates their emotions back to what's happening in life, rather than worrying about this rat race, right? It's not required today. It's not necessary today. Take a simple example. When we were in school, we used to, if we had to find something about some topic, right? What was the process? We would go to a library. We would go to an indexation column. We would find out which book would probably have this. Then go to that book, that section, find that book, then go through the index of that book, which page is going to happen. Then we might take down some notes or Xerox it or photocopy it. Today, what is happening? Chat GPT is telling you everything. So why should I worry about the trouble of going through all of that? Technology is meant to help us in our daily lives. So if technology today has the capacity to give me what I want in 1 second, why should I make my child go through the whole journey of doing the entire process? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy, right? I would rather have him do something which is more meaningful to him. So what is happening in today's time is parents are expecting that once I paid the fees, now the magic will happen. That is wrong. That's never going to happen because there are thousands of children in that school and your child is unique, which is what we believe in logotherapy, that all of us are unique. There cannot be a one size fits all solution. So never ever put your child in that domain that, okay, you have to be in this. And that's the worst thing you can do as a parent. And that's something that I always tell my clients as well when I coach them, that don't tell your child, go and have this conversation with your child, have a clear conversation with him, ask him, who are you really? How would you like me to define you? How would you like me to know you? Rather than just saying, you're a student, your job is to study, don't come back and question me, right? Because parents today want quick fix solutions on everything. They don't want to really work as well. I'm sorry, but a lot of us, we just don't want to put efforts in parenting, right? We believe very easy. Send the child to a school, hamara kaam ho gaya, right? When people ask me about homeschooling, me and my wife, the amount of sacrifices me and my wife do with our children and the time we spend with them to make them learn, to take them to experiences. Like right now, they are in Japan for Expo 2025. The kind of experiences they are gaining there. Okay, all of this requires time, energy, money, of course, but at the same time, it requires commitment. But also, it all starts with clarity. Because who are you really is a conversation you should have with your child. Otherwise, you will never be able to know who your child really, really is.
Yeah. I really like when you shared that story about your kid and him saying about the salary thing. That me like you said that you had a goosebump. I also felt something within me. Like it's very inspiring to have for kids to have that kind of empathy for others.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, and we have what we have with them now is all the worries about the world. That how would I look like this? How would I earn this much money? How would I uh, like there is a lot of comparison through social media,
Yes.
but there is no uh, what and you also spoke about logotherapy and bringing meaning to their life. And many a times parents think that is it is it all right for teens to uh, worry about life's meaning? And I also would like to understand from you that why is this approach particularly powerful for adolescents? And how is it different from traditional coaching or any other coaching approaches? What does meaning does to teens in their life if it comes
Yeah.
to them?
So meaning is an ongoing journey. Okay. It's not like you take a meaning workshop and after this, like how we are planning this 7 weekends workshop, that after these 7 weekends they will suddenly have a magic pill and they would know. Sorry. So it's not like there is a quick fix again. It's not like, okay, I'm paying the money, my child will attend this workshop and he will come back with his own meaning. No, it doesn't happen like that. Meaning is an evolving thing. Okay. What we need to worry about is finding the meaning of the moment. Okay. Again, through this workshop, our objective is not to tell students that become a rebel, stop going to school, don't do what you're doing. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to instill in them that yes, there are certain things that you are supposed to do in this world, right? And right now, the situation that they are in, they don't have a choice to make. They're not matured enough to make that choice, right? Their parents have made a certain choice for them that, okay, they need to go to a school, they need to get some good grades and whatever. Because you're part of a school system, you're supposed to, there is a certain set of expectations that you have. There is a certain set of practicality that you need to have. But what's important for us is we consider the same thing, or we take this as the same analogy as what happens in us as adults. As adults, we have to work. None of us want to work. If you look at the studies that have happened, and if you ask all of us, do you really want to work? Do you really want to go out there and spend your time in an office or running a business and taking all the stresses in life? No, we don't want to do all of that. But we are supposed to. We are made to do it because you are part of a system. You're part of an ecosystem, right? So the idea here is once you find meaning, you are able to at least make yourself strong enough to be able to understand how to tackle the daily expectations from life, right? And that is the reason why we do what we do in our lives in terms of understanding meaning and purpose, right? So what is the process of finding meaning? The process of finding meaning is very simple. It starts with self-awareness. In my coaching practice also, when I start working with clients, the first question we start talking about is, who am I? And we spend at least 4 or 5 sessions discussing this answer. Who am I? Because in a typical sense of term, we would describe, I am Nitin Kalra, I'm son of so-and-so, I work so-and-so, this is my qualification, this is my designation. We will start very happily with all the worldly titles that have been given to us. Rarely will we start with something to say that I'm just an explorer on this planet. I've never heard something like this when people talk, or I'm just a human. I'm just trying to be, right? But these are things that you get to know when you are self-aware, when you kind of know where you are, how you are. Again, as adults, we might still be in a better position to define our meaning. Okay. But as kids, as teenagers, this is just the start of that meaning definition. Right? So it's very important for us to actually guide them or allow them to explore their own meaning via various things that kind of happen in life. So for example, the 2 or 3 basic principles of logotherapy are very important if we can instill them in children right from the childhood. That is, number 1 is always have a creative side, maintain a creative passion in your life. Okay, something that can take your mind off your daily routine. So it shouldn't be that I'm studying in school all the time and I come back home and I read books. A lot of parents tell me, oh, I spend a lot of time, reading books with my children, right? Okay, fine, that's all right, but that's not taking their mind off books. What is the other creative skill we are trying to develop, right? It could be art, it could be music, it could be painting, it could be drawing, it could be cooking, it could be anything else. But my only challenge to parents is, you will all come back and tell me, yes, we're already doing that. My child is going to a guitar class, my child is going to this class and that class. You know what? By putting them again in that class, what you're saying is, I paid the money, you better learn it. No, that's not creative side. That's not creative development. So we need to help our children find what is that one passion which they can sustain for a lifetime, or at least a major part of their life. The second part is we need to make life experiential for them. We need to provide them experiences. We need to let them go and do things in their own way, right? We need to give them those opportunities to go and learn in a unique fashion, in their own fashion, okay, beyond just books. We need to tell them life is all about experiencing new things. Yes, in the limited time and the limited resources as parents we can provide them right now, we will give them those experiences. But once they grow big, if they have a habit of experiencing life, okay, they will continue to grow in that fashion. Okay. Like again, I'll give you an example. I have a client who tells me that both his children, okay, hate going out of the house. So they've never taken a vacation. They've never planned vacations together because both the children, the moment they get in the car, they get sick. Okay. When they travel somewhere, they get sick. They've never really instilled in them the whole habit that you need to explore. Life is all about exploration. In reverse, during the coaching, I realized, and the client realized, that it is the parenting that they have done with those children. You know, this client's son actually got 98% in his 10th grade right now, like in this last month or whenever the results came out. But because everything is all about study, 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 the child doesn't want to step out of the house to do anything new. So now it's impacting him because he's saying, I want to go out and explore. I want to go on a vacation. I want to go hiking and mountaineering and doing this and sightseeing and all. But my children don't want to join me because they hate it. Because you've never given them, you've never instilled the whole idea of experiencing life with them. For you, it was all about study, study, study. We'll see afterwards. We'll see next year. We'll see next year. Last 4 years, they have been pressurizing them since grade 7 that, oh, our 10th standard is coming. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. So now for the child, this is a waste of time. But for somebody who grows up saying, no, I have to take my vacations, I have to take my breaks, I have to go out for short vacations, short holidays, I have to learn something new, I have to learn a new skill set. Experiencing life itself will be beautiful, right? So what we are saying here is right now, we need to help our kids to understand the meaning of the moment, as we call it in logotherapy, momentary meanings. Our life is nothing but a necklace of momentary meanings which we develop over a period of time, and that meaning will keep changing, right? If I just take our own lives as kids, we had a different set of meaning in life. What was our purpose? Just coming, enjoying life, having a chocolate, running away from parents, hiding and doing a mischief. That was our meaning. We go to school, our meaning changes. We go to college, our meaning changes. We go to work, our meaning changes. We get married, our meaning changes, right? What we need to be ready for is right now, what is life asking out of me? What is my meaning right now? What makes sense to me right now? Let me enjoy that thing right now. And that links us to the third point of Frankl. What he talks about is it all depends upon the attitude you keep towards life, right? So ultimately, the idea is to keep a positive attitude towards whatever is happening in life, because the basic principle of life itself is everything happens for a meaning. Everything has a reason, right? So if we are able to provide that reason to the child that, okay, whatever has happened, there is a learning. Take the same example of my son this morning. Now, as parents, my wife and I could have looked at this very differently. We could have shouted at him. We could have punished him. We could have beaten him up. We could have done a lot of things. What kind of lesson would he learn out of it? Nothing. He would probably develop hatred towards us as parents that, oh, you're only interested in money and nothing else. But what did he learn out of this? He learned a very, very beautiful lesson out of this, that I will be careful now for the rest of my life before I lose something, right? And the fact that he showed his empathetic side, that, you know what, my worry is that I lost somebody's 2 months of salary. That's the conversation he and I had, not about the fact that, oh, you lost 60,000 rupees. So everything is not about money. Work towards developing the momentary identity of the child. What is the identity of the child right now? You are not just a student. You are an individual. You are a human being. So what our goal in this workshop would be to try and help children develop their identity, discover their identity, and teach them ways and means of how they can discover their identity. Yeah. It won't be easy, but at the same time, it is not impossible. And the earlier the person knows what their identity is, the earlier they become more aware of who they are and what is it that they really want out of life, They will be prepared and ready to fight this battle of life, which we keep talking about, which is not a battle, but we keep talking about it as a battle. Your mic is on mute.
No. Beautiful. I'm very much into this momentary meaning because, yeah, like you said, each and every second the meaning of our life changes, and for the kids to realize, I think that would be wonderful. Um, but some parents might be thinking that, oh, this this thing, finding meaning or momentary meaning for teens sounds good in theory, but will it actually work for my teenager or for my child? So to that, what would you say? What does success look like? And how do families know that if this investment of time and energy is making a difference or a real difference?
Right, right. So again, the question is, like I mentioned earlier, that this is not a magic pill. It's
Yeah.
not that you will, suddenly feel, oh, after 7 weeks, my child is going to be a very different person altogether. No, it's a process. It's a journey. It takes a long time for you to develop maturity enough to even understand yourselves. Like I said, even in my coaching practice with adults, we spend 5 to 6 sessions just defining who you are,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes even after those 5 6 sessions, clients are not able to still discover who they are. They're still in that process of discovery. And I always tell people, it's a never ending process. We are all evolving human beings. We evolve every day. Life evolves every day. We need to be strong enough to be able to adjust to what's happening around us, right? By developing our system of values, our beliefs, our principles. Okay, what is it that is not compromisable? What is it that I need to work towards, right? Again, I'll give you an example of one of my clients I'm coaching right now, who came to me and he said he's from a Jain family and he's recently joined a management college. Okay. And as soon as he went there, day one, he saw people smoking and drinking and having a good time and whatever. And his seniors and his classmates have started pressurizing him. He's under tremendous stress right now because he feels that by not drinking, by not smoking, by not even eating non-vegetarian food, forget non-vegetarian food, he's a strict Jain, so he doesn't even eat potatoes and onion, garlic, etc. He's now kind of getting a feeling that he's so lower in the rank as far as the world's definition of cool is, right? And everybody in his batch has been telling him that you will eventually join a company. And in the company, if you want to grow up in your ladder, success ladder, you will need to do all these things. You will need to drink, you'll need to smoke. Now, what is happening within him is a fight between his values and principle and expectations that the world is showing him. But the question to ask is not about the expectation. The question to ask is who has defined this success? Who has defined that you need to be able to drink, you need to be able to smoke to climb up the ladder? Okay, why is this thing happening in that fashion? Why do we allow ourselves to be able to be influenced by others' definition of success? Right? And that is the process that starts when I know myself, when I know my principles, my values, my beliefs, right? And I am convinced about them, that this is my way of life, and so far I've been successful with this way of life. This child managed to reach a management college, right? That time nobody told him that, oh, you should be able to drink or smoke or do drugs or whatever, right? So the fact that he was able to achieve something in life that he wanted without compromising on his beliefs and value systems, why should now he allow others to determine his value system, right? So if he is self-aware, if he knows his values, if our child knows what is important to him and what he will never compromise on, right? Then he can define his own success ladder. He doesn't need to compare himself with others. Who's defined? I keep reading so many of these. In fact, I have so many clients, people earning. I in fact was talking to someone just last month. Okay, this guy, high level executive living in Gurgaon, earning 50 lakhs a month, okay, has got zero savings. Like he broke down during the session telling me that, you know what, my worry is that tomorrow if I lose my job, I have nothing to fall back on. 50 lakhs is what he earns a month. But he's got a house in DLF, Camellias, and he's got a big, 2, 3 Mercedes in the house. Lifestyle, expectations, when you earn 50 lakhs, no, you need to throw those weekend parties. You need to have the famous Gurgaon parties. You need to go out. You need to have fancy. You need to fly first class everywhere, wherever you go, right? Somebody else's definition of success. Now you compare that with people like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, or you compare that to people Mark Zuckerberg, right? Who are more worried about their purpose rather than wearing something. There are so many images of Bill Gates standing in a queue like a normal person to buy stuff from McDonald's, right? There's so many pictures on the internet. There's so many lectures around this, that why Mark Zuckerberg just wears a great t-shirt and a blue jeans every day to work, right? No brands, no Gucci's and no Armani's and nothing. Pure focus on purpose, on their meaning. What do they want to do in life? They're not bothered about what are they wearing, etc. Yeah, you may argue and say, oh, but those guys have got enough money to do whatever the hell they want. Yes, but they worked hard for it, right? You can also be a Mark Zuckerberg tomorrow. You can also be an Elon Musk tomorrow, right? A lot of people tell us that, oh, so I have this friend who kind of always keeps joking. Oh, so you want your son to become like Elon Musk because Elon Musk was a school dropout and your son doesn't go to school. I'm like, no, I have never ever told my son, I want you to be an Elon Musk or or an Ambani or somebody because they never went to school. We've never told our children that we are not sending you to school because we want you to be like that. No. There is a reason why we're not sending you to a school. There's a reason why we are investing in alternate education. And now that my son has become slightly mature and elder, we are asking him, do you feel that we've done something wrong by not sending you to a school? And he gives us examples. He says, I see my friends who, like, till 12 or 1 in the morning, their parents are sitting and drinking and smoking and having parties, and then they force them up at 5 in the morning. Not the parents, the maids force them to get up at 5 in the morning with sleepy eyes. They go to the school, half the time they're sleeping. They get caught by the teachers sleeping in the class. Is this why you go to a school then? Or one of my family friends was telling me how their daughter goes to a school in Gurgaon and she's 13, and how in her class there are classmates who are actually vaping in the school. 13-year-old girls vaping in the school. Okay. And all the time, there was another friend of ours who came home to Dubai the other day, and they spent about 5-6 hours with us, and 4.5 hours their daughter was on a tablet watching YouTube all the time or watching Instagram all the time. She's 13 years old, 14 years old. She didn't feel it important that I'm going to somebody's house, I should have a conversation with this person. Okay, the only half an hour that she took that the mother took the tablet away from the child was when we were having food. And that too, the child quickly finished dinner and went back to the tablet. She was all doing scrolling on Instagram and watching videos and reels and whatever. That's the life of a 14-year-old girl today. If my child has to do this by going to school, I'm sorry, my child is better off at home. I would rather not send them to school. And these are things which we've experienced as parents, but these are things that my own son tells me because he plays for the under 13 football team in Dubai. He's got friends, he meets them every day for training, etc. He's been telling me that how they all have fancy cell phones and everything else. My son carries a Nokia 1100, and he's very happy about it because he would rather spend his time playing on the field rather than sitting and scrolling Instagram. What children today are doing, even in the name of sports, what children today are going is, as soon as they step out of the house, they get on the reels. Right? Because you've given them the resources. So if a school is going to be a glorified daycare center for my child, I'm sorry, I don't want a glorified daycare center. I can take care of my child myself. So if I've given them birth, it is my duty and my responsibility to take care of them. So parents have to understand that, yes, these things, these schools and colleges and institutions and daycare centers and maids and everything are great. They are great for our support, but they are only a support system. They are not an end in themselves. So thinking that my son will go to a school or my daughter will go to a school and she will now shine, that's wrong. And stop defining your definition of success to children. Your definition of success is never going to be their definition of success. It's impossible for them to know success in through your eyes. Let them be authentic. Let them define their own level of success. How successful are they? We should be teaching our children that your competition is you yourself. You should be better. You should aim to be a better version of yourself from what you were yesterday. That's your competition. Not, my neighbor's son or my neighbor's daughter. That's not your competition, because we don't know their belief system and their value system. We know our belief system and our value system, right? So we should be worried about us. Mother Teresa had said a very beautiful thing, that the only way we could bring peace in this world is by starting to get peaceful in our minds. The moment we stop looking at the fact that, oh, Pranav has a bigger car than me, or his children are going to a better school than mine, or they are flying first class and I am flying economy. His wife is more beautiful than my wife. They wear more jewelry than I do. The moment we stop comparing ourselves with others, right, our life becomes so much easier. Our life becomes peaceful. So define what matters to me is the purpose of this workshop. What matters to me as an individual? And once I have all of these around me, I create this strong ecosystem, because I know myself. Now, if somebody tells me, okay, I need to study, I need to work hard, I need to do this, I need to do that, I'll be ready, because I know my beliefs, I know my strengths, I know what my value system is and how will they go forward with that. That is what is all that is matters. So at the end of the day, this workshop is designed not as a magic pill. It's not like, okay, now after 7 weeks, my child will give me an action plan. No, it's just a way for us to make our children feel more authentic and more real. And that is the whole idea of this workshop.
Yeah. Um, I'm in awe with the way you defined success for an individual, and especially for teens. I think uh, what this program has will definitely help them bring that meaning to them. And I think it will be a great start for any teens who will be joining this. That brings me to this question that we have put this course or this program for 12 teens, and uh, also like this is again kind of a peer learning where they would be learning from each other, they will be learning from this course. So what happens in this kind of group setting that cannot happen in family conversation or individual session? And also, like this journey of 7 weeks, what does it actually have for them if we go into the details of weeks and the
Yeah,
program
yeah,
has? Yeah.
yeah. So first and foremost, what this course is going to do is, when we talk about peer-to-peer learning, the first thing that it does to anybody is to have this realization that we are all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Right? And this is something which is a very powerful acknowledgement to have, that everybody is going through a similar journey, right? We're not alone in this. A lot of us live in this world thinking, oh, I am the most miserable person on the planet. Everything is going wrong with me only. Okay. And because we don't express, we don't talk, or probably we're not allowed to express and we're not allowed to talk, we just keep keeping all of this inside us. And eventually it turns out to be a volcano. It impacts our performance, it impacts our personality, and it impacts the way we talk to the world. We interact with the world as well, right? We go into a shell sometimes, we get into a depression mode, we get into, anger issues, we develop anxiety issues. we start developing fears and different kinds of diseases from a mental health perspective and a physical health perspective that kind of creep into our systems, right? So first and foremost, it is very important that we will create this awareness that everyone is in the same boat. Everyone is free to talk. Don't keep anything to yourself. Learn to express, right? In fact, I think in week 6 or 7, we are going to be talking about how to create that close knit group, that circle of support around you. And that circle of support has to be chosen by the individual. It could be, of course, parents, siblings, family members, friends, teachers, maybe mentors, maybe coaches. It all depends upon how you really want to build that structure around you. Like, who is that support structure that you will have? So what we are going to do in this course is, by firstly starting off by making kids aware that everyone is in the same boat and you're free to express whatever you want to express in this forum. Second, there is never going to be a comparison. We are not going to talk about, oh, so you are from so and so school and you are from so and so school. No, no. So first this fellow will talk and then that fellow will talk. No, that's not how it is supposed to be. We will democratize the entire conversation because we don't want anybody to feel I am special, I am bigger than this guy, or I am smaller than this guy, or anything. So comparisons, this will teach them the idea that everyone is equal. Everyone has got an equal voice. Everybody is free, just like I am. Just like I have the right to talk, everybody else will also have a right to talk. We will work with them in terms of uh, getting certain concepts clear in their head. We want them to come off this whole pressure cooker of life concept. Okay, life is not a pressure cooker. Life is not about something that is about to get to blast. It's not like that. Life is to be enjoyed. So we will discuss ideas about how we can still cater to life's requirements and needs by being your own self. So self-awareness, developing habits that will keep us grounded. Okay, like I said, things around creativity, things about experiential learning, things around maintaining a positive attitude towards whatever is happening in life. So we will do exercises that will teach children in terms of creating or defining their own identity over a period of time. The first 3 or 4 sessions would actually focus a lot on defining your identity or creating your identity. So it's all about self-awareness. The last 3 segments would be where we do actionable points. We put actionable points. How do I tackle the pressure of life? How do I approach it? What should I do? Right? What are the habits? So simple things like maintaining a gratitude diary, and why is it important? Right? Or writing a diary, why is it important? Why is it important to have mirror talks? How do I feel confident about the stresses of life? By simply being ready for it. How do I prepare myself? So mirror talks, writing down things, handling expectations. These are all things that we will learn together over a period of time, and we will create steps which we can then use in our lives. Not huge difference, small steps, but will eventually lead to big outcomes. And that is the objective we are trying to make. So making a difference. So when the child leaves after 7 weeks, once we disband this group, I want them to go back with at least one key thing that they will incorporate in their life for at least the next 1 year. Okay. And commit to the fact that I will do this come what may. Right. Because even if they're able to do one thing and they're able to imbibe one thing in their life, which they will stick to, that shows a sense of commitment. And that also shows that this is what is valuable to them. This is what they want to do in their lives. Right? So we will also help them define a personal mission. What is this mission going to be? What do I really want from this thing? How do I benefit going forward from this entire conversation, this entire discussion? And more importantly, towards the end, I want to say that what we are interested in is building a small group of friends who can actually stay connected for a long time to come. And if we are able to create this group of friends, if we are able to create this community, so to say, that will remain connected to each other for times to come, maybe this is the community that can then go on spreading the word, that can then go on defining different things to different people in this world. Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Your
Nitin.
microphone is on.
Yes, I'm back.
I think you disappeared from the
Yes,
scene.
I disappeared for a few minutes.
So I don't know
So
what did you listen last?
no, I listened the whole thing, just the end of it. So thank you for sharing that. You have really put the structure in a way that teens can get best out of this program. Uh, with that question, our conversation comes to an end. Any parting words that you would like to give to the parents who would be listening to this conversation that would help them bring their teen to this program, if there is?
So all I would say is that don't expect magic. I'm not a magician. Uh, at Living Consciously, we're not magicians. We're not going to have any magic wand to transform your child, right? That magic is actually happening in your home right now, right under your eyes, right under your nose, right? All we can do as parents and as responsible adults is to just give them a platform to emerge stronger and be a better person. And that is what this course is going to do. This is all going to introduce them to some basic life skills, some basic lessons about life, which no school is going to teach, unfortunately. So if you believe that your child deserves, knowledge which is going to stay with them for the rest of their lives, this is the course you should be looking for. And study the material, go through the context of what we are talking. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be very, very happy to answer those questions directly for you as well.
Thank you, Nathan. Thanks a lot. To people right now who are watching, the links to the course will be there in the description in the bio. You can have a look at it, and you can always get in contact with the numbers where it is. And we would be happy to answer the question. Me and both Nathan are there to answer any question which you have. And we would love to have your kid in the program to go in this journey together. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Nathan, for
Thank you.
leading this
Thank you, Pranav.
conversation.
Looking forward.
Same. Okay, good night. Bye bye.
Good night.
Take care.